Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I thought I'd start the new year with these really, really good thoughts from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Listen carefully to these. The most beautiful people we have known are those who have known defeat, known suffering, known struggles, known loss, and have found their way out of the depths. These persons have an appreciation, sensitivity, and an understanding of life that fills them with compassion, gentleness, and a deep, loving concern. Beautiful people do not just happen. Wow. Happy New Year, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a Patriot, the first one for 2018 with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. And a good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and welcome back as we start a brand new year, January 2nd, 2018. And I wonder how many of you are going to forget your checks and write 2017 like I did already. Anyhow, have a great day. And right now, let's go to the phone line. And we're brought to you, first of all, I'm forgetting already. Our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations are major sponsor, and we appreciate them. Now, we'll go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know who this is. I just figured it out, and God bless you, and thank you for doing the pledge. Welcome back.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
What a nice lady right there. Let's go to our weather forecast right now, and the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn, right there on the Burley Paul Highway. We certainly hope they had a great Christmas and New Year's. K&R Rental and Sales Incorporated offers the best of rental tools and equipment. And if you have questions, believe me, get a hold of them. They can help. They will help. They've got everything available to you to get everything done, your construction projects, etc. Stop in or give them a call at 678-3122. K&R Rental. Right now, here's the weather.
Welcome back to work. It is the second day of the new year, and weather is going to be nice for today and pretty much for the rest of the week, but maybe some snow showers by this weekend. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are looking at areas of freezing fog this morning. After that burns off, sunny skies, a little bit on the breezy side, winds out of the east-northeast, 7 to 11 miles an hour, gusts possible as high as 20 miles an hour. We are looking at a high of 33 tonight. Partly cloudy skies with a low right near 16. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies with a high of 36. Overnight low of 19, mostly sunny for Thursday with a high of 37, overnight low of 23. For Friday, partly sunny skies, but more clouds are going to be rolling in on Friday, high of 37. We do have a 20% chance of snow showers for Friday night with a low of 28. That could continue for Saturday with a high of 38. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
I really appreciate her doing the weather. And good morning, Gina. Thank you. Brought to you by K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn, right there on the Burley Paul Highway. Number to call Roger and the crew at 678-3122. Really good people. Oh, my goodness sakes, don't you hesitate. Give us a call. You might be the first caller, actually the second caller after Nancy did our national Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. Don't forget Thursday sale day at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call for cattle consignments, sale information, 678-9411. 678-9411. Merv May, Cade, Rogge, Lance, Udy, all there at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. The sale that works for you. Big sale on Thursday, the first one of 2018. You be there. By the way, Christmas is all finished, and New Year's is all finished, and maybe you had a lot of people over there for Christmas and dinner and maybe a New Year's celebration. Oh, my goodness sakes, the tablecloths are all messed up and stained, and maybe you've got a few stains on your neckties and your ladies' dresses. Well, my goodness, take them in to Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. They are the best cleaners in the universe. I'll tell you what, for years and years and years when I was really traveling hard, I always look forward to coming home with my old Rumply Crumplies because they can make them look brand spanking new. Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You stop in and see those good folks today. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. Now, the holidays are not over. No, we've got a new one that we can celebrate this next summer on August 4th. Oh, my goodness. Put this on your calendar and, man, highlight it with, like, different colors and everything. Because next summer, on August 4th, especially in the state of Illinois and some other states that are picking up on this. Why? It's going to be, a little drum roll here, brrrump, cheap we are, Barack Obama Day. Now, that really went over like a lead balloon. I'm not kidding you. Back in Illinois, they are going to have on August 4th next summer, Barack Obama Day. And other states are trying to jump in and also be a part of the action. I got it marked on my calendar, and believe me, we are going to celebrate. Yeah, you can bet on that. Hey, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Temperatures over almost two-thirds of the country this morning are absolutely dropping like a rock, and there's 30 to 40 degrees colder temperatures in many, many areas across the United States that don't get colder temperatures, like down in Florida and Georgia and other places. And where are the global warmers today? Where are they? Where's Al Gore? Where's Tom Steyer? And where are all these people? Oh, we're burning up, my goodness. No, we're not burning up. Right now, people are freezing literally to death. And this is what these people want. They want colder temperatures. They want to mess with God and nature and try to cool things down. Yep, I tell you what, this is the kind of a mess that you'll have. Number to call is already being used. Good for you. Hold on, caller. I'll be right there. I want to remind everybody about Denny's Restaurant. We had a tremendous Christmas party over there on December 14th. I still absolutely sit back and go, wow, double wow. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and also at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. And I mean breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time. I was in there the other day. I love those poppers that they've got there. They are so good with that cream cheese. You're going to love the food. The people are great. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland and Burley. Yes, it is true. They are America's diner. Good morning, caller. Nice to have you here.
Well, good morning, Zeb.
Well, hello there, Mr. Las Vegas.
Yes, and I want to report to you this warmer there.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, like it's been like Christmas Day, 67 degrees.
Wow.
Just really nice. You know, what I want to mention today is California has officially made marijuana a recreational substance, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
And And that being a sanctuary state, according to Governor Brown, that you cannot question somebody about their ethnicity or whatever that word is, that it's just a tough deal because these people are trying to make it so they are fully protected.
Yeah.
Unless they have committed a crime, they can't. Like if you knew your neighbor had somebody living with them that was not a legal resident of the United States, and you turned them in California, can't do that.
Well, California, Keith, right now, in my opinion, and I'm glad you brought this up. Quite frankly, I'm going to call California, Illinois, New York, with Cuomo and de Blasio, I'm going to call them the growing cancers and Sodom and Gomorrahs in the United States, California in particular. The absolute rash that keeps on itching and getting bigger in California with being a sanctuary state and just basically turning a blind eye and a deaf ear to the laws of this country. I'm sick and tired of people breaking the law.
Yeah, and in Nevada, it's legal also.
Yeah.
Now, Nevada is crying foul because they want to put more taxes on marijuana, which I think is a good idea, but they said, no, you can't do that because the blackmailers or black market people will come in with theirs then.
Well,
so it's going to ruin the market.
Well, here's the thing I look at, and I know that a lot of people are going to say I'm an old fuddy-duddy. Well, so be it. I'm going to state my opinion, whether it makes somebody upset or not. I think marijuana is nothing more than a gateway drug, opening a door to perhaps more drug abuse, higher drug abuse, and worse of the worst drug abuse. And I can't see why in this world we want to create a society where it's becoming easier to become absolutely stoned.
Yeah, and the worst thing of it is these families, they're going to be exposing their children to this, and that is so disgusting.
Well, I agree with you, and I'm one of these guys, I'm not going to change my mind. And by the way, you talk about the left coast, Oregon, Washington, and California. Here's one for you to mull over. You know how everybody was pushing back when the energy crisis was at its peak? Oh, you all need to get a bicycle. You got to learn how to ride a bicycle. And if you've got bad legs and you can't balance on a bicycle, you better get a three-wheeler. Well, so people in Oregon started buying a lot of bikes, bicycles. Now the state of Oregon, Keith, has passed a law that says if you buy a bike that's worth over $40, you've got to pay a bike tax to use it on the roads of $15. Isn't that like hitting you with the left hand because the right hand doesn't work?
Well, yeah, but you take in Las Vegas, they've got quite a metro system of buses and everything like that. But here's what the problem is that they have a bicycle lane and then they have a bus lane. And you're not allowed to travel in any of those lanes.
I know, and that bicycle lane, I've found, can be very, very dangerous. Keith, I got to run. Thank you for your call. Welcome back. Happy New Year to you. Thank you so much.
See you. Bye.
Don't forget our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Hello, Rita and the rest of the folks. They've been in business over there for over a half a century. Wow. I mean, that really is impressive. And serving you with all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. I'll tell you what, I called them the other day. Had trouble with the light outside. Bingo, bango. I can see the light. Go to the light. Wonderful job. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call 678-0459. And they're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric. You get a hold of them today. Wonderful, wonderful people. Caller Sure, I'll be right there, and I appreciate your call. But right now I want to tell everybody about Pomerelle Place, too. There are a lot of neat things going on at Pomerelle Place, and starting tomorrow we're going to be telling you more about them. And I want to start the new year off by reminding you this is a great place for senior living. And don't live alone. Don't absorb the safety hazards of being alone, poor nutrition, missed medication. Call them and find out about senior living at a Pomerelle Place. Wonderful, and it offers the ability for seniors to maintain their independence both safely and comfortably. Call them at 677-8212. Pomerelle Place, 1301 Bennett Street in Burley, 677-8212. Caller, good morning, and thanks for calling in.
Well, good morning, Zeb, and Happy New Year to you.
And right back at you. Thank you, sir. God bless you.
I'm looking forward to 2018, and I can tell you why briefly. I'm really excited to see what new and improvements can be done to the United States. And I feel with the president we have now, if we can get people to work with him, we can make some good improvements, some great improvements, and make our country strong once again, economically and militarily and, patriotic-wise.
I agree. You know something, Riley? I'm glad you brought this up because I am sick and tired of all these naysayers. I'm sick and tired of all these people trying to rub dirt into the complexion of America and run down Trump, run down his administration. The guy, whether you like him or not, whether you like his policies, whether you like what he has been in the past before he was a presidential candidate or now the president, I don't give a rip. He is doing things and getting things done for the benefit and growth of our nation, and that's really all I care about.
I agree. I didn't vote or basically hire Donald Trump because he's a politician. That is exactly why I voted for him, because he wasn't. I voted for him because he has a lot of business experience. He made how much money? That's right. And not that money does not just benefit him. If you look at everything he's ever done, it benefits the people that work for him, but also the areas around him. Everybody's got their skeletons in their closets, and when Obama was president, we didn't like it one bit, but we didn't throw a temper tantrum like these other people are.
Absolutely.
It is what it is, and we're going to be great again. If they don't want to deal with it, then get the heck out of our way and just let us roll on past. I'm tired of being drugged behind.
And I agree with you. We did not hire or vote for a Sunday school teacher, quite frankly, and Trump is not ever going to be called a Sunday school teacher. But the thing is, like you said, and I agree with you, he is a businessman that knows how to make things grow, knows how to make money. That's what this nation needs. Quite frankly, I think he's also doing a good job on national security with the people like Madison, others that are there watching and overseeing the situation. I'm doggone happy with the way things are, and I would tell the liberals and the Democrats and anybody else, shut up, do something positive, or go sit in the corner and just twiddle your thumbs.
I agree. Can't wait till he gets after the UN and hopefully can get us out of there and deal with the entitlement crowd, as they like to call themselves, a little bit more harshly and see what happens. I bet you people who can't work will all of a sudden find out they can do a little bit of something.
Amen. Amen.
You go, buddy.
Happy New Year.
You too.
All right, thank you. Calls welcome. I love these calls in the morning. Man, I appreciate you folks taking the time to dial in and say Happy New Year and voice your opinion on things. While I have a moment before I tell you a little bit about, let's see, what am I going to talk about next? Oh, $33 billion. That's not just a drop in the bucket. $33 billion. Right now I want to talk about Dino Septic Service in Rupert. Oh, they wish you and yours a happy new year. And they also say, we hope you don't have any trouble with your sewer and sink drain lines. We hope you don't have any trouble with your septic tanks. But if you do, they're there to serve you. Absolutely. Septic tanks pumped, septic tanks and drain fields installed. They've got a backhoe service, water and sewer lines installed. The list goes on. And Dino Septic Service in Rupert. Fast, fair, friendly service serving you. Don't forget, with that great big truck smells cargo on the way, Dino Septic Service in Rupert. Number to call, 436-6526, or in Burley, 678-1638. They are good. Dino Septic Service. We ran quite a few different businesses before Christmas with Christmas greetings, and I'm going to give a little synopsis of all the people that supported our Christmas greetings and New Year's greetings, and I'm going to give them kind of a quick shout out again today because I so much appreciate what they did. And some of those include Snake River Auto Body and Paint at 404 4th Avenue West in Twin Falls with Ken and Dan and the crew. Thank you, Snake River Auto Body and Paint. Streamline Precision, man, with Tim Vaughn. I can't say enough as to the friendship and the great job that they do at 120 South, 100 West of Burley. Streamline Precision, 678-9204. Pickett Equipment Company with Steve and the gang at 976 East Main in Burley. Absolutely the most innovative equipment in the world. And, of course, Kyle and the great crew at Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, 1177 7th Avenue in Hayburn. Thank you very much. And I know that they want to extend again wishes for you to have a very happy New Year. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want somebody to call me right now and tell me why, if somebody came up to you and they were a former friend, let's say that you knew them, they were a former friend, and, hey, can you give me $10 or can you give me 20 or can you loan me $50 or whatever the case might be? Yeah, you know what? Maybe they have some hard times. I'd be sure and give them the money. But then after you give them the money, they turn around and they denigrate you. They call you names. They make threats against you with your money in their pocket. How would you react to that? Well, that's exactly what's happening to the United States this morning. Over the last 15 years, we have treated Pakistan as a friend and an ally, and we have done things for them, and they have allowed some of the airspace over their country. For us, it's been kind of a reciprocal situation. Oh, but we've given them $33 billion with a B. And now they protest us. They denounce us. They absolutely say and chant death to America with our $33 billion. Your money and mine. And Donald Trump comes out, and I don't blame him a bit. I stand behind him. And he said, that's enough. We're cutting off the money. And he's right. Let them fend for themselves. Pakistan. $33 billion handed to them so they can turn around and chant and burn and scream and yell death to America. Honeymoon's over. No more money. That's the way it should be. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I hope you didn't, over the period of the last couple of weeks, we were off for 11 days, and I needed the vacation, Deanne needed the vacation, and we really appreciated it. I know Wheels needed the vacation. He was begging for more time off. And I hope he didn't fall on the ice. I'm telling you, some of the storms that we had and all the ice underneath the snow, and then when it melted, ooh, well, if you got banged up a little bit and a sprain or a strain or whatever, I know where you should go. I know who you should call, and that's Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. The number to call for an appointment, please do, 678-1191. That number again, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation with all their physical therapists, all the exercises, the hydrotherapy pool. I'm telling you, they can help. I know, firsthand experience. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 678-1191. Get a hold of them today. Please start the new year off right and feeling better, too. Oh, and by the way, for your cattle, now with the cold and the snow and everything else, I want to urge you to get a hold of our friends with Keelix Supplements. Oh, my goodness, absolutely. And Scott Minton and the crew over to Keelix Supplements, they have a very important supplement of vitamins and minerals for your livestock, whether it's beef cattle, dairy cattle, sheep, goats, and horses. I'm telling you, they've got a product for all your livestock. And don't forget, a variety of formulas, and all you have to do is call him and find out more. Scott Minton, can help you provide your cattle what they need for these cold winter months. The number to call, 435-230-1175, and that's Keelix Supplements with Scott Minton. You give them a call today. Really good people. All right, your turn, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call on the landline. Let's see, what else have we got in the news here this morning? Holy cow! Did you watch any of that football yesterday with the college games? An unbelievable Rose Bowl game. This was not a yawner. No, this was not a sleeper. This wasn't one of those where you get in the lazy boy and you go, oh, another football game. No, this was literally the team that had the ball last won the game. And it went 2 overtimes between Georgia and Oklahoma, and the score, it wasn't exactly a defensive standout, 54-48, and Georgia beat Oklahoma in 2 overtimes. And so they're one of the qualifiers for the national championship. And then Alabama really shook the timbers over Clemson 24-6, and so it's going to be Georgia and Alabama for the national championship. And I got to tell you, I'm not a fan of Alabama, not a fan of Nick Saban, the coach, not a fan of their every year being there. Come on, Georgia, win that game. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a jingle. I would love to hear from you. By the way, if maybe you injured yourself and, boy, it's just not getting any better, sprain, a strain, or a fracture, or whatever, my goodness sakes, urgent cares are there to serve you. Yes, they are there 7 days a week with extended hours. You get treated, not seated. No appointment necessary. Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center at 382 North Overland in Burley, Urgent Care of Jerome at 133 West Avenue A in Jerome, and Urgent Care of Twin Falls at 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin. I'm telling you, they really are there when you need help right now. So please remember, you and the family will always get treated with the best of care and help save you money, too, at the Urgent Cares. Riverview Urgent Care in Burley, Urgent Care of Twin Falls, and Urgent Care of Jerome. You stop in and see them today. Caller, thank you. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. Happy New Year.
Well, Tony, my good friend, how are you and Mary?
We're doing just fine. Couldn't be better. Wouldn't know what to do with myself if I was.
Well, I can understand that. What in the world can I help you with this morning?
Well, it was just a thing that I keep thinking about with all this uncontrolled immigration into the country. How much longer will it be before we've got more people on welfare, get to the point where the taxpayers can no longer afford them? Are we going to have all this rioting in the streets like it's going on in so many different foreign countries?
Simple answer, yes.
Yeah, that's just something I think about a lot. I know we have a whole lot of good things going on, and I'm really thankful that we've got somebody like Donald Trump, who's a mixture of Teddy Roosevelt and General George Patton. He's putting a stop to a lot of this garbage that's going on.
Yeah.
And I hope the Democrats out there will soon appreciate what this man is doing for this country.
No, they won't. They won't. They're in their rut, they're in their gutter, and they're in their cesspool of anti-anything conservative, anti-anything to do with this administration, anti-anything to do with the GOP, anti-anything that's going to make America better or great, because it's not part of their doctrine, it's not part of their platform. They're not very smart people. They never will be, can't be, because they adopt the philosophy of everything has to be negative, their way or the highway. And I have nothing good to say about the liberals this morning. Oh, am I glad you made me say that.
Well, the only other thing I have to say is what Hillary Clinton said. Get over it, Democrats.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is in power.
Yeah, I tell you what, this deal with Hillary, come on, Tony, you follow the news. It's almost laughable at best that Hillary Clinton, Abedin, and the rest of the people that work for Hillary, they're as guilty as the mafia back in the 20s and 30s in Chicago, and they're getting away with it. And I wonder why somebody hasn't pulled the rug out from underneath them. I can't figure this out.
I don't know. We got that old bag. She should be in prison by now, but evidently it's due to the corruption up there in Washington. That's where this kind of stuff gets going.
I can't believe that you can have all these emails, that you can have all this mess with the FBI, you can have people on private servers like Abedin transferring classified emails to her husband at that time, Anthony Weiner, that had a lot of other troubles that I'm not going to get into this morning. I mean, this is just nothing but a laughable cesspool.
Well, I remember when the FBI was considered above reproach, and now my feelings are that the organization is so damn corrupt, it's going to bring the country down.
I'm going to temper your words a little bit by saying this. I think that there are, in vast majority of numbers, way up into the 95, 96% of the FBI are good, honest, serving people to this country. But that 3 or 4% of the hierarchy that have been corrupted, I absolutely hope they get found out and they are removed.
Well, it just goes back to the old thing about one rotten apple in the barrel is going to spoil the whole bunch.
I couldn't agree more. Hey, may I extend to you and your lovely wife, you're two beautiful people, and I'm proud to call you my friends. Happy New Year, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Same to you and Deanne. We will be getting together soon.
I hope so. Thanks, Tony. God bless.
Burley.
All right, buddy.
Trip down here.
Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Okay.
What a nice bunch, a couple of people they are. Boy, Tony and Mary, I mean, we go to breakfast with them on occasion. We just really enjoy them. Caller, I'm coming. Hang on just a minute. Barry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts. 3 locations to serve you. South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls. Hello, Eli. And, of course, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with Juan. Ooh, yeah, they've got all the equipment there for you. They got all the Bobcats. Oh, you're a little hesitant. You don't know how to run a Bobcat? Well, they got a big sandbox right out behind, and they'll teach you. And then you'll be comfy and taking care of the job that needs to be done. They've got all the equipment rentals, retail equipment sales, everything for you. Retail equipment sales, like I said, they've got all the equipment to get the job done right at Barry Equipment and Rental. Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Absolutely the best. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. How are you?
Good, sir. Thank you.
Good. Did you have a nice vacation?
We really did have it wasn't really a vacation. We had a lot of work to do in organizing what's going to happen on the program for this year. And, but I want to say that I enjoyed the time off. I enjoyed the time with my family. I had more time with my family in the last 11 days than I had in the last 11 months. And I really enjoyed it.
There you go, because that way, number one, you can just kind of pace yourself a little bit and get the things that you need to get done, but you can pace it. And number two, being with loved ones and family and what have you this time of year, it's priceless.
Absolutely. What can I do for you this morning, sir?
Well, we were just talking about the cesspool in Washington, and, it really troubles me to see that there is one person in the administration that if he got off his dead butt and decided to start doing something instead of being scared to death of people, maybe this would clear up a little, and that's Jeff Sessions.
I agree with you. Very well stated. Jeff Sessions, our Attorney General, has absolutely stubbed his toe by recusing himself. I think he absolutely is not going to be able to do the job necessary. I could not agree with you more, and I think he needs to take a more offensive approach to this instead of a defensive approach. And if he's recused himself on one subject, great. Let's go after everything else that's available for his investigation through the Attorney General's office. I don't see him being on the offense.
You know, he's from Alabama, too, so that says something.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought I'd put in my 2 cents on that because it really, really bugs me because here he is sitting on his bump on a log and everything, and he's just not doing a darn thing about it.
No, I agree. I totally am glad you brought that up, sir, and I want to extend to you and yours a very happy New Year. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much, Zeb, and the same to you.
All right, sir. Thank you. That gentleman is 100% right about bringing up Jeff Sessions. We need an attorney general right now that's going to keep running full speed at the end of his chain trying to bite somebody. I'm telling you, man, we've got to get a lot of things investigated, and I think that this absolute garbage that's coming from the left, whether it's Hillary Clinton, whether it's the FBI, whether it's anything to do with Uranium One, there's just too many things that are being swept under the rug. Caller, stay with me just a minute. I've got to say thank you. I'm doing these as a little special extra. Golden Valley Warehouse, 468 West, 1000 South of Burley. Great people selling quality seed to quality people. Happy New Year to them. And again, I want to say thanks to Streamline Precision, Tim Vaughn and the crew at 120 South, 100 West of Burley. They do everything. They can build anything and everything. Get a hold of them today, 678-9204. Joe Taylor. Joe, doggone, that man is amazing. Best doggone real estate agent in the country. Joe Taylor, 425 Overland and Burley. Give him a call, 678-9400. And some friends of ours up in Oakley, Clark's for Shopping, 100 East Main Street in Oakley with that grandma sausage. Woo-hoo-hoo. That is delicious. Clark's for Shopping. Thank you very much. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
Well, hey, may I stop you and say how nice it was to go to dinner with you and your lovely bride the other night? Nice, nice people.
Well, yes, she is.
And thou art also.
Well, we really appreciated it, and it was a good time. I liked the conversation, and the food was super.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We enjoyed it. What can I do for you this morning?
Well, my question to everybody is that sailor that took a picture in a nuclear sub did not send it to anybody.
Nope.
Keeping it for his memories when he got older, goes to jail.
Yep.
Okay. Now they find classified information on Anthony Weiner's laptop, which James Comey went through all those emails and said there was nothing there in November or late October. Now they find classified, plus they find she has entered all the passwords in a Yahoo account that was hacked. And they're still walking the streets.
Yeah.
Not a thing going on with them.
Let me ask you a question. If you get in your pickup right now and take off out of your business and turn, as you go over the railroad tracks, and you turn onto that next street, and you decide that you want to go 80 miles an hour, you're going to get a ticket, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're either going to pay the ticket or they're going to make you go serve jail time, are they not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But why is there two different classes of people? We are the little people out here in the hinterland, that if we break the laws, we're subject to the laws and all the ramifications that the law will provide to us if we don't abide by the law. But people like Umar Abedin, Hillary Clinton, and so many others can break the law. They can do things that would injure and harm the country, and they get away with it.
Exactly. Like Comey. He admitted to leaking government information, And has anything happened to him? He
Nope.
hasn't been brought up on charges. He hasn't been indicted or anything. And that is illegal. And he admitted it. That's like you go out and drink some beers and you're driving home, cop pulls you over. Yeah, I've been drinking.
Yep.
Okay, well, just go on home. Be careful.
That's not the way it works.
No, it isn't. But it is, apparently, if you're in the elite as they think they are.
Well,
they're not as elite as they all think they are.
I got into a conversation here about a week ago with some people that said, oh, come on, Zeb, you're just like all these others. You just want to go back and rake up all the muck from the past. Well, yeah, when somebody breaks the law, why should they get away with it?
Yeah, and I love what the Democrats are doing now when some Republicans are talking. Let's get a special counsel and looking into Uranium One and this all the investigation the FBI done on this, emails and everything such as that. And the Democrats are going, oh, that's in the past. It's not, we don't need to worry about that.
Oh.
That is baloney.
Well, that's not the word that in the cowboy verbiage we would use, but it's a subtle term.
Exactly, like male bovine droppings, right?
I'm fed up with it. I don't care who Hillary Clinton is. I don't care who Bill Clinton is. I don't care anything about Comey. I couldn't care less. They put their clothes on the same as everybody else. Sure, that might be a better cut of cloth, but I'm sick and tired of them getting special rights. The law of justice and the scales of justice should balance out for everybody.
And it should be blind. It should not matter who you are. One thing I would like to see happen, anybody who goes to work for the government that has to swear to uphold the Constitution, first they need to read it and take a test on it to see if they understand the Constitution.
Nah, you're asking too much. You can't possibly ask them to do that because, my goodness, that would be an eye-opener.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because most of them swear, it's constitutional right. They have no idea what's in the Constitution. I bet they've never even read it.
Well, it's just like, and I can't think of the guy's name, he's uglier than a mud fence, and he's one of the Democrats that always stands up and yells, separation of church and state, separation of church and state, and he hasn't got a clue what the Constitution or anything else from our forefathers really says.
Exactly. That's exactly. They try to take the words and they use 3 or 4 words out of this sentence, and instead of using the whole sentence and getting the full meaning of what those words mean.
But
they live on sound bites.
I want to just talk a little bit, though, real quick, and then I've got to get a weather forecast in here. Give me a short answer on this. Do I want to see a complete investigation of Hillary and her emails and Humad Abedin and the other? Yeah, I'd like to see each and every one of them put in jail. I'd like to see them serve a prison sentence with the number on the left lapel that says they're going to be there for a long time. I couldn't care less about raking up the muck. I want to see these people pay the same legal price that others do.
Yes, and then that money laundering deal that's come up on them.
Yep.
I mean, if any normal citizen would try to get by with 1/4 of what Hillary Clinton's gotten by with, we'd be looking at the world behind bars.
Amen. Listen, my friend, I got to run, but I really appreciated you helping us issue in the new year. Thank you so much.
You betcha. And just real quickly, everybody, I know past the season of giving, but let's keep on giving. Let's keep on helping our senior centers. Let's do what we can to help them, and God bless.
There you go, Doug. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Hey, it's time for the weather. Actually, it's past time for the weather. Old Wheels is sitting there. Zeb. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with Christine Pickup. Hello, Dr. Pickup, Doctor of Audiology. And they're located right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, waiting to serve you with hearing screening tests today. You went through the Christmas holidays and the New Year's, and you're going, huh? What'd he say, Martha? Well, listen, call them today at 312-0957. Start the new year off right with a hearing screening from Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. 312-0957. Right now, here's the weather.
Welcome back to work. It is the second day of the new year, and weather is going to be nice for today and pretty much for the rest of the week, but maybe some snow showers by this weekend. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are looking at areas of freezing fog this morning. After that burns off, sunny skies, a little bit on the breezy side, winds out of the east-northeast, 7 to 11 miles an hour, gusts possible as high as 20 miles an hour. We are looking at a high of 33 tonight. Partly cloudy skies with a low right near 16. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies with a high of 36, overnight low of 19, mostly sunny for Thursday with a high of 37, overnight low of 23. For Friday, partly sunny skies, but more clouds are going to be rolling in on Friday, high of 37. We do have a 20% chance of snow showers for Friday night with a low of 28. That could continue for Saturday with a high of 38. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
I'll tell you what, Dr. Christine Pickup has been an audiology doctor for over 10 years, and I know she can help you. She helped me. All you have to do is call, make an appointment at 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. You give them a call today. By the way, in the last couple of weeks, I've been learning a lot about different agricultural industries right here in this part of the state of Idaho. And I didn't know that the sheep business was as big as it had been in this area. And winter headquarters were around Rupert for a lot of sheep coming out of Oregon. Summer headquarters were at Soda Springs and Haley, and then later at Ketchum. And the sheep business has been very, very big here in the Magic Valley. And a happy New Year's wish. They hope everything goes better for you from your lamb and wool growers in the Mini-Cache area, past and present. These folks really hard-working, dedicated, strong Idahoans who are a part of Idaho's history and are proud to be participating in Idaho's future. Thank you, lamb and wool growers in the Mini-Cache area. Very nice. All right, now give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, you think that your kids that are going to school, college, are not really working hard? You don't think they're really burning the midnight oil trying to pass their tests? You don't think that they're really struggling trying to hold down a job and then take all the lessons and the books home, maybe after their job or during a break, and trying to pass with passing grades? Well, UC Davis in California, University of California at Davis campus, is offering a new course for these students today that have got it so rough. They're offering a napping class. I am not making this up. They're offering a non-credit 30-minute napping class so that the students can have a quiet place to snooze and curl up in thick blankets and lay down on yoga mats and then use eye masks to block out the midday sun. And while they're laying there in this napping class that your taxpayer dollars and mine are paying for, an instructor sits at the head of the class in a low, soothing voice and leads them in meditation. I just wanted to throw up. You know, they say that U.S. college students get roughly 7 hours of sleep each night, but they need 9 hours to function well. What happened to the old days where I went to work at 7 o'clock at night and didn't finish until midnight or 1 in the morning with my job, and then had a couple of hours sleep and then made it to my first class? What a bunch of wussies we are raising. Caller, quickly, you're on the air.
I just want to mention the Democrats might want to get in on this half hour of snoozing, a special room and everything when they get done roasting their marshmallows and singing Kumbaya. They could take a little nap. Maybe that would give them a better attitude. What do you think?
I swear that the Democrats are asleep most of the time anyway.
Well, they are.
Okay.
But, it's just one more thing that they want to add to us. If young people need to have a snooze, I guess. Excuse me, that would be permissible, but I don't think it should be a rule.
No, I tell you what, it's just so insane. The young people of today are coddled, and, why these poor students are only getting 7 hours of sleep. Keith, I can remember when I was in college, I was lucky if I got 3 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah, it's, they just keep inching their way into our homes and everything.
Yeah.
Like I was talking earlier about this marijuana. When you're sitting in the living room with your children smoking that marijuana, well, they may not be smoking it too, but they're breathing that air.
Absolutely.
And they're just inviting, come on in to this wonderful world that they have.
Yeah, I gotta run and go to the news, Keith, but God bless you and welcome back. It's good to hear your voice again. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. Hey, wintertime driving, we're not out of the woods. I wished I could say we were, but boy, I know we're going to get hit with some winter storms. I know the roads are going to get nasty, ucky, and mucky. I know it's going to be full of ice and snow. Hey, make sure you've got all your traction tires from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. They've got all the traction tires, all the different kinds of traction and tread tires. They've got your tire chains. They've got everything to make sure that you get safely through all the nasty driving of winter. Stop in and check out the Great and Brake service and front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more with some really, really good people. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline and Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Right now we got to run to the news. I'll be back in 7 minutes. Have a great day. Wheels, it's all yours. Oh my, good morning. It is, it's a little different after having a couple of days off, to get back in the swing of things, and good morning to you. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Really, really good people. By the way, Wheels, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead right now, if you don't mind, my dear friend, we're going to tell everybody about Western Way Services, if you would please.
From the canyons of the Snake River, and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Way Services.
I'll tell you what, folks, if you're not on the route service, you should be, because they'll come on once a week to your location, pick up your garbage. It's gone. It's out of there. Not to worry. I'm telling you, these are the best people in the world to work with. Always at your disposal is really true. You need to call them and get on that route service of 734-6969. Absolutely. Western Way Services, they treat you the best. You get a hold of them today, 734-6969. Also, want to take the time, if I can, and just tell you about some really, really dear friends of mine, and that's Joel Heward, his family, and the staff over at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness. Always there to serve you, and they certainly hope that you and yours had a wonderful Christmas and New Year's festival of fun, I guess, and, of course, realizing what Christmas really means, and that's the birth of our Savior. And they're always there, upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity and serving you and your family when there's the passing of a loved one. Please remember their location, 710 6th Street in Rupert, and their telephone number, 436-5636. Joel Heward and the staff at Hanson Mortuary, serving you. Right now, I can't think of a better way to start the interviews for 2018 than having this next man on the program. He's always positive. He is always a man that can look far ahead and see what's on the other side of the great divide as far as what's happening politically. I say good morning to my dear friend, Dr. Gerard Lamero. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I am doing great. Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to all those wonderful folks in your radio audience.
You know, Dr. Lamero, you are a man that I just enjoy having on the program because you've got really good thoughts, you've got really good optimism about this country, and all of which you've told me about in the past. I feel better with this Trump administration and our economy, and quite frankly, even our security, than I have felt in a long, long time. What are your feelings?
My feelings are you're 100% correct. You look across the board, this man has revolutionized the White House. He is not only boosting the economy beyond any expectations anybody had. We're at about 3.3% GDP growth going into 2018 last week, and this week we're looking ahead at a forecast of 4.5% GDP. That means money in people's wallets. That means money in people's checking accounts. That means people are going to be finding better jobs, higher paying jobs. And I think that it's time for that because we've been stuck in a bad economy under the old administration that did everything they could to get in the way of economic growth. Now we've got somebody who believes in growth, and the country is starting to let loose.
You know, let me ask you, let's get into more of the specifics because I know you know the answers to these questions. But over the course of the last couple of weeks leading up to Christmas and through the Christmas holidays, there were the naysayers out there. There were the Schumers and there was all the Dick Durbins and everything else. Oh, that new tax plan, why, it's just nothing more than hidden death. Why, it's going to creep up on us in the night and it's going to destroy this country. What are your thoughts about this new tax bill?
Well, I used to think Democrats were delusional. Now I know they're delusional because they couldn't be any further from the truth. I mean, look at what happened as soon as it passed. The companies are saying, wow, 35% tax rate down to 21%. We're going to start spending the money. We're going to give out thousands of dollars of bonuses to hundreds of thousands of American workers. They're doing things like one company said they're going to invest $50 billion new dollars into the American economy. Another company said $1 billion they're going to invest. I mean, people, it's just letting go the engines of this great country. We have a great economy if you don't hold it up with regulations and taxes. And you know what? The American people, be it companies that are big, companies that are small, or just plain regular folks who are individual consumers, you give them more money, they spend it smartly, or they save it smartly, or they invest it smartly. But whatever they do, the money gets put to use, because even if you put it in a savings account, it gets loaned out for somebody to buy a house. And if you put it into growing your company, it means hiring more people, giving them a higher salary. I think it's fantastic. And I think this tax thing, I don't think they did everything they could do right. There's a few more things I'll add, but I have a feeling those other things are going to be added later, a couple of other things they could do. But basically, it looks fantastic, increasing the standard deduction to $24,000 from $13,000, increasing the child tax credit for people that need a tax credit for their children. Oh, go up and down the line. It's fantastic.
Well, where do the Democrats, like Nancy Pelosi and, like I already mentioned, Chucky Schumer and the rest of them, how do they get away with the innuendos and the slanderous statements about this tax cut and saying, oh, yeah, you were duped into it, but you just wait a year, it's going to come back to haunt America, and it's going to add at least $1 trillion to the debt. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, let's talk about adding to the debt. Okay, we know that tax cuts always raise the gross domestic product always raise tax revenues. They don't decrease it. When you cut taxes, the funny thing is they don't go down. You spur more economic growth. More economic growth spurs more taxes. It's actually good for the government. And it also means deficits go down, and we're not going to be adding to the national debt. We know that. The old-fashioned way of saying, oh, a tax cut means less money for the government, that's baloney. That's the old-fashioned way of thinking. Nowadays, you use what's called dynamic modeling, and what that does is it takes into account the good effects. It just doesn't subtract the bad stuff. It adds in the good stuff, and overall, it's good for the economy. We have, in our history, we had the Reagan tax cuts were phenomenal. The JFK taxes, and he was a Democrat. His tax cuts were phenomenal. Calvin Coolidge was phenomenal. You look in American history, every time we cut taxes and give people more of their own money, guess what? They spend it, and they spend it smartly.
What about the rate of inflation when you give people a lot of their own money back? There are those that are saying, look out, we're going to be like a fly swatter coming down on us with a higher rate of inflation.
Not at all. Not at all. Inflation, from an economics point of view, comes from the supply of money. We have learned from lots of studies, and in fact, Milton Friedman won a Nobel Prize in economics for showing that inflation is caused by the monetary supply. If you print more dollars, you get more inflation because there's more dollars to go around. If you have a stable monetary supply, you're not going to have inflation.
You know, Doctor, I don't care. I'm going to sound a little callous like this. I'm not a wealthy person, but I don't care if corporations are making a lot of money. I don't care if corporations are not paying the buku taxes on all of their income and their businesses. But you know what I do care about? I care about the trickle-down effect. I care about those corporations sitting there smiling, hiring more people, opening up more business sites around the United States. That's what I care about. I don't care about their taxes. I care about the growth of America and the input of the smaller Americans being able to make a better living.
You're right. And you know what? Let me add to that. And I want to just say, who are those corporations? You know what they are? They're little grandmothers who have 100 shares of this stock or that stock. They're people who are working hard with 3 kids and a husband and a wife, and they're putting money into their 401k or their IRA or whatever, and those turn around and get invested in stocks. When corporations do good, the stock market goes up, and that little grandmother, I remember my aunt, may she rest in peace, died, unfortunately, much older, older woman, but she had, believe it or not, bought stocks in Dreyfus Fund, which was the first mutual fund ever. And she bought her little shares, a couple of shares of that, and she had a couple of shares of Saturday Evening Post, if you remember that magazine.
I do.
And she had some other shares, and she wasn't a rich lady. She was kind of like, didn't make much, but she just saved a little bit here, a little bit here, $100 here, and she'd buy a share, and she died, but those shares did pretty good, so she had a good funeral.
Okay. Let me ask you a little bit about energy in this country. Now, let me ask you why, first of all, are we, in your opinion, seeing a bubble increase in energy at the pump when we are looking at such absolute enormous amounts of energy that have been opened up by the United States? Why have we seen, in a lot of cases, between a 70 and an 80 cent increase at the pump on energy? Will that go away, or is this here to stay with us?
Well, there's different things going on. I know in California, for example, they added another 80 cents or something for a gallon of gasoline, but it was taxes. They have enormous taxes. So some states tax, they want more money for highways or for whatever projects they want to spend it on. And so some of it is taxes, There are regulations that are impacting things, and there's also just the give and take of the market where sometimes when you get behind on things, like we got behind in the last administration, it takes a while to work out the kinks and bring down the prices. But prices come down when there's a lot of demand, and you're able to get more expensive oil in and start taking advantage of that. So I don't think it's in at all. I think there are going to be bubbles here and there. There's going to be bubbles in every market. You got too many houses, too few houses. Cars can go up a little, down a little. That's normal give and take. But if you allow the economy to do its job without a lot of high taxes and a lot of high or onerous regulations, eventually the market will clear, which means you'll get the most stable, the lowest possible, most cost-effective prices. We're still getting over, Obama kept complaining about Bush for 8 years, blaming Bush for everything that went wrong that he did. But you know what? In all fairness to any president, you do take a year or two to really clear the economy after your predecessor left.
Right.
And I told people, if you think things are good now, wait 2 years. Wait 3 years. You're going to see things booming because Trump keeps doing the right stuff for the economy.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you a question here that I have limited knowledge on the stock market. I have stocks. I play a little bit in the stock market, but I am by no means an expert. What about the stock market at 24,000? People are saying it might hit 30,000, and how high is up? Nobody knows. What are your thoughts about a market that all of a sudden could crash, or is it going to continue to go sky high?
Well, I think as long as we keep going in the direction, we are going in the direction of what I call a pro-growth economy. In other words, we're cutting taxes. There's 4 things you need. You got to cut taxes, you got to cut regulations, you got to cut government spending, and you got to have a stable dollar. You got to have a dollar that's worth $1, or as close to it as possible, and that eliminates inflation. You have those 4 things, you're going to have a booming economy. How far are we going to go? We're going to go up, because at 4.5% GDP, which is the forecast now for this year coming up, okay, that is going to do nothing, I think, but raise things. So I'm bullish. I mean, I don't officially, forecast the stock market, because that's for professional investors that do that, I try to predict elections, which you don't have to be a professional to do.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Dr. Lamero, because here we are, and Wheels, we got a little feedback over there, if you would, please. Here we are after the first year of Trump's administration, and already people are talking about, oh, well, he's the most hated president ever. His percentages are way down. People don't like him. 2018 is going to be a bust for the GOP, and it's going to put the Democrats back in office, and then in 2020 they'll regain the Senate, the House, and the Oval Office. I don't see it.
Well, you know what? You're right. They're wrong. Because I'll start with the Senate. Okay, but all of what you said is right. Your thoughts are right. Their thoughts are wrong. Let's start with the Senate. The Senate, there are about 24 Democrat seats up for grabs. 10 of them are in states that Trump swamped with red state votes. And there is no way the Democrats are going to carry the Senate. It is going to be the opposite. The Republicans are going to be filibuster-proof. They're going to have at least 60 seats in the Senate. In the House, there's not much chance that they can gain the House, so that's not a future for them. So they're looking pretty bad these days, and they keep saying the most stupid things. And I think they're delusional when it came to the economy. They're delusional on a bunch of other things. They are just so out of touch with reality, and people are voting them out of office left and right. They have never been in this bad a position in terms of the number of seats they have held across the country since the 1920s. The the Roaring '20s was the last time the Democratic Party has been this bad off.
I agree. Wheels, we're going to have to regulate the sound a little bit and turn him up and down a little bit because evidently our phone line's not working properly this morning. Dr. Lamero, let me ask you a little bit about that, the Democrats and their philosophy. Right now, what is their platform? What is their platform for the future? Who is going to be the person or persons that they're going to push in front of the public? They seem to be the most disoriented, disengaged party that I've seen in the last 30 years here in America. Am I wrong?
No, you're a man who's got his head screwed on straight. You're seeing things just like they are. And precisely where they are is their strategy is simple. You can't win at the polls, so you try to win with impeachment. They couldn't beat Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton wasn't strong enough. They don't have anybody on their team that can beat Trump in 2020 either. So what they're hoping to do is impeach him, and they can't impeach him without having the House. And even if they had the House, there's nothing to impeach him on. He hasn't done anything wrong. Collusion is not illegal. You're allowed to talk to Russians. But presumably he didn't even do that. I mean, that's kind of a made-up delusional story. So all they can do is run on impeaching a president who's doing a great job. And the other thing they can do is go for the free lunch crowd. In other words, they'll push their socialist ideas, because let's face it, they're socialists. I mean, they want the government to do everything. They want the government to pay for your cell phone, pay for your housing, pay for your medical, pay for everything else imaginable. So that is the free lunch crowd. If you want something free, you vote Democrat, and they're going to promise you the world.
Real quick, when you think about the Democrats, and every day on the news, they're either talking about Hillary, they're either talking about Bernie, or they're talking about Joe Biden. Have you heard any names mentioned at all for the Democratic Party where they might try to instill or implement new people, new names, new blood, new spirit? I haven't heard a word.
No, and no new ideas either. I mean, their ideas are basic, old-fashioned socialism. They call it progressivism, they call it liberalism, they call it lots of things, but the one thing it isn't is helpful to the American people. American people are voting them down left and right. Everywhere you turn, they're being turned out of office. And until they change their mind and start doing what the American people want, they are going to sit out of office, and they better get their resumes dusted off, because a lot more of them are leaving in 2018.
Amen. Now, I know that you've got a new book, More Great News for America. I can't wait to read it. When's it coming out, and where can we get it?
Well, it'll be coming out in a few weeks. I don't know the exact week. Publishing's a kind of a funny business. Sometimes it comes faster, sometimes slower, but toward the end of the month, maybe the last week, and that it would be nice if it gets out on time. And it'll be all about my predictions for the country. It's a follow-up on Great News for America. And if you haven't read that, it's good to read that ahead of this, because this one builds on that, and people understand the new predictions better if they understand my thinking from the last book. But anyway, it's coming out, More Great News for America. It is a positive, optimistic look for America, and it says a lot of great things, and I make a bunch of predictions about what's next.
All I can say is I'm so glad that I was able to get you on my program this second day of 2018. God bless you, Dr. Gerard Lamero, a great friend of this program, fine author, and really a prognosticator of what's going on in politics, and I have yet to find that he's wrong. He's right spot on. Dr. Lamero, God bless you for 2018.
God bless you and all those wonderful listeners of yours.
Thank you, sir. Take care. Thank you. I enjoy having him on the program, and believe me, we'll hear a lot more of him in this coming year. I just think he really knows his stuff. Dr. Gerard Lamero. Right now, I want to remind you about some friends of ours that are serving your animals. That's right, to keep them healthy. Whether you got a little bitty kitty cat or a whole bunch of roping steers, dairy cattle, horses, whatever, Ark Animal Hospital is a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small, they love them all. They've been voted Minnecache's best veterinary hospital many, many times. Dr. Bill and the crew, they really care. That's it. They really care about the health of your animals, so please give them a call or stop in. Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn, and the number to call, 678-1177. I'll repeat that number, 678-1177. And Ark Animal Hospital does have warm hearts for cold noses. You get a hold of them today. Also want to say a big thank you again, as we mentioned before Christmas, some folks that really have been a main cog in the wheel, the agricultural wheel of Idaho, and that's the lamb and wool growers in the Mini-Cassia area, past and present. They wished you a Merry Christmas. They wished you a Happy New Year, and they wish you to have a great 2018. These are hardworking, dedicated, strong Idahoans, like I said, that have been a major part of Idaho's history and are proud to be participating in Idaho's future. A Happy New Year 2018 from your lamb and wool growers in the Mini-Cassia area. Really nice people. Oh, my goodness, in just a few moments, we're going to have our next guest on the air, and that is Maria Espinoza, and I look forward to having her on the program. Want to say, hey, they're starting the new year off right at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Jeff and the rest of the crew, I know Deanne's been on the phone with them already this morning, and they've got some great New Year's pricing on a lot of the great furniture and carpet and bedroom sets and recliners and sofas. Oh my, the list goes on and on. These are people that really know the home interior and furniture business better than anybody else. Jeff Bronson and his whole crew over at 459 Overland in Burley, Lee's Furniture, and that's Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Serving you in 2018. You stop in and see them today. All right, in just a moment, we're going to have our next guest with us on the phone, but that also gives me just a moment here to remind you about our friends over at Let's Ride. Oh, boy. There is snow up on the hill, and that means if you haven't got your new snowmobile, you'd better get into Let's Ride today at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. All the snowmobiles, all the accessories. They've got all the four-wheelers. They've got certain motorcycles and ATVs over there. My goodness, all the accessories, like I said. And listen to this, a service department that will absolutely keep you running. Great people serving you at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. They are the best. Don't forget, too, somebody else that's really the best at what they do in the insurance world, and that's Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Number to call for an appointment to make sure that you're up to date on your life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more. They can and they will help you. Call them. 436-4424. The best serving you, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Right now, we're going to go back to the phone line, and this lady started on my program, I think, back in November or October. And I have the absolute utmost respect for her and her opinion. And she's the national director of the Remembrance Project, which honors and remembers Americans and legal residents who have been killed by illegal aliens. And we say a very good morning and a Happy New Year to Maria Espinoza. Good morning, Maria.
Good morning, Zeb. Thank you so much for having me on again, and Happy New Year to you and all of your listeners.
Well, thank you so much. And I guess it's kind of the 11th hour for me right now as a talk show host and somebody that really cares. I think the Trump administration has got to do something about the wall. I think they've got to do something about DACA, the Dreamers. I think they have to implement a very tough border policy. Do you see all this coming together for the benefit of you and I as taxpayers in this next year, 2018?
I do see that coming together. However, President Trump needs all of our help, and if he can't do it alone, he has these politicians who are really bent on trying to give amnesty to illegal aliens. So he's going to be going to the border and taking a look at those the prototypes of the wall as well.
Maria, you're very close to this with the Remembrance Project, and I really value your information that you provide on this program. But it seems like our situations are getting worse. We've got California in absolute defiance of our federal government, and they're going to become a sanctuary state. Would you please elaborate with my audience what that means if California becomes a sanctuary state?
Well, California has really been working as a sanctuary state for some time. So I think this is pretty much the way Governor Brown is trying to push back against President Trump and millions and millions of Americans who want current laws enforced. So he's going to, I'm sure, going to be getting additional letters from A.G. Sessions and demanding that they cooperate with the federal government on detaining illegal aliens. So, as you know, there are several lawsuits in the courts right now. However, I think that if you have any listeners in California as well, that they certainly need to be pushing back on what Governor Brown is doing. He's just absolutely insane, in my opinion.
I feel so sorry for Kate Steinle's family and so many others that have suffered because of illegal aliens committing crimes and felonies in this country. But yet the Democrats and the liberals, they will look right at the television camera and they will have a bleeding heart sympathy for those that are here illegally. When in the world is America going to wake up and put that way of thinking to rest?
Right, and I think they are waking up, Zeb, and with the verdict of the Steinle case was certainly a gross miscarriage of justice, and there is no justice for the Steinle family, nor for other families and any other family in the future whose loved one is killed by an illegal alien. So I think that this has to be a wake-up call for people. And in San Francisco, we held a press conference there on Pier 14 a year and a half ago, trying to raise awareness of what actually is taking place here. You have an illegal alien who, adult male, picked up a gun, pointed it, and shot Kate Steinle. So how this man got away with it is, again, it has to be a wake-up call for people, and we can't allow this to happen. It's not just in California. It's all over the United States as well. We have people we have a chapter leader in California, and we certainly could use the one in Idaho as well. Robin Vitson there is pushing back and doing a very good job in raising awareness. As you know, though, there are so many very liberal politicians there. It's difficult to even have our voices heard, but slowly I know that they're building their support groups and are doing a very good job in raising awareness of the many killings of Americans by illegal aliens.
The DACA problem that we have in this country, or simply put, is the dreamers that are here and what to do with them. Plain and simple, what are your thoughts? Is the Trump administration, are they working at this in the right way? You are entwined in this every day, and you could probably tell my audience far better than I could report a story. Are they looking at this thing the right way? Is deportation the answer, or or is allowing them to have amnesty and stay here? I mean, what do you think should happen, Maria?
I'm glad you talked about that and brought it up, Deb, because, we've done that amnesty before, and look where it got us. It got us encouraging more people to come into our country illegally when we have a huge front door. We have the what we want is for current laws to be enforced. It's that simple. And why these politicians, these crooked politicians, can't figure that out, and that's what the American people are very upset about as well. That's why you're seeing these politicians being voted out. So we have current laws, and those laws need to be enforced. We're looking at the chain migration is a huge problem as well. We don't vet properly the people who are here. We don't have a merit system, and it should be on a merit system based. No visa lotteries. All of those need to be eliminated as well. We have to allow people into our country based upon their merit, their skill, their language skills, if we need them, their education level. So this DACA I think is very key in laws being upheld all across the United States. DACA will be key, and I encourage your listeners to sign up on our website at theremembranceproject.org. Stay in touch of what's going on, and we will give them their politicians if they don't have their elected officials already in their speed dial, so that they can make calls. And it does make a difference, because if we let our voices be heard loud enough and often enough, always polite but stern, we can get this done, and we can stop the lawlessness that DACA would bring.
Okay, but Maria, and I don't mean to be simplistic when I say this, but when you look at Rahm Emanuel in Chicago, you look at the situation with de Blasio in New York, and you look at the mess on the left coast out in San Francisco, L.A., etc. They seem to be, and I hate to say this, trendsetters as to what happens all over America many times, and the just basically turning a blind eye and a deaf ear to the laws and saying, that's too bad, we're not going to acknowledge it. How much trouble are we in right now?
Well, we're obviously in a lot of trouble, but just take a look at what President Trump has done in just a year. I mean, who would have thought that the FBI would be exposed and Comey would be doing what he's doing, top official leaking? Who would have thought that the fake media, would be exposed? And look, there's a list of things that he has done very good, and he is working toward those items as far as trying to keep our country safe, and that's what we're focused on. But the Baldios and Rahm Emanuels and Governor Brown and all of those individuals, we have to let them know as well that they are wrong. Either they're going to have to choose lawful nation or not in order to keep their constituents safe as well, because they are harmed, directly harmed, but also what we are looking at is trying to hold these elected officials personally responsible. Now, Texas has the SB4 that they passed earlier this year. And in that bill, and of course it's been challenged in the court systems right now, but in that bill, it does allow for the elected official who allows these illegal aliens, criminal illegal aliens out and harm people, to be personally held responsible. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to shed some common sense into our whole thought process here, because if these officials, and they are acting illegally and irresponsibly, and they have the power to implement these policies that are dangerous and have been proven to be dangerous, then they should be held personally accountable. Or either that, or they're either incompetent and should not be sitting in that position.
Okay, now you led me right into my next question for you. And this is speculation on both of our parts, but would term limits being in effect in this country, would that help us with the illegal alien problem to the point where we could look at these politicians and say, look, partner, you'd better get this done now because your term is about over? Would term limits help the situation?
Zeb, I think term limits would help some situations, but I think it comes down to the people who we are electing into office, and do they follow our Constitution? Do they want a safe America? Do they have a First America agenda, just like President Donald Trump has and believes in? That's who we need to be electing, those individuals who are strong and understand that America is in a very precarious position right now, and that our nation's sovereignty and national security is number one in order to have safe communities so that our businesses can prosper and our families can live safely. This is what we want. We do not want for the terrorist attacks all across the United States that's taking place to be something that we accept. And that just is not acceptable, and we should not tolerate that. So term limits might help, but I think what would be most helpful is for each individual to educate themselves as to what is really going on and not read just your politician's newsletter, which will be all glowing about his work is all conservative and great, but that we really have to educate ourselves to understand what's going on, or at least get with a group that does keep up with that and shares that information, and that group has to have the values that America First agenda as well.
Maria, down in the state of Texas, there are those of the liberal bent that would tell us that, Texas is changing. Texas is going to become a blue state before too long. And they say, well, we're going to get our power back because of Trump being so disliked, and the administration is trying to pass so many rules and regulations that the American public doesn't want. I absolutely stand behind Donald Trump and his administration. I think what he's doing is the right thing to get this country back on the tracks, if you will. But what do you tell these people down in your state of Texas that think that Texas is changing and will be a trendsetter for the United States?
Well, I don't think Texas will go blue. However, know that what you're seeing is a lot of the Republicans going away from the Republican Party, because the Republican Party is not standing by its platform and America First values that they thought they had. So that's what and I know in Harris County this last election, last year, it was very bad for Republicans. However, the Republican Party did step away from the values, the Texas values that they swore by. And it's on their platform, and that's one thing that we're fighting right now. We have sent the Republican platform to some of these legislators and reminding them, clear as day, there is written, no amnesty. So Texas is they made a mistake there, in my opinion. So I think that this can be very encouraging too. There are youngsters in college who are creating their own groups, Zeb, and they have an America First agenda. So, and they're looking to spread, their clubs everywhere else as well. So, I think that you're seeing a revitalization of placing America first and pro-America. And for decades, it's been a bad thing, and political correctness and people called racist if they came out to stand up for America. I'm Hispanic. I love this country. This is the greatest country in the world, and no other place I would be, and I have done some traveling. So I think that now we're seeing a change where people are demanding that America be placed first.
Absolutely. Now, of course, power is in numbers, and I know that you'd like to have more numbers involved with the Remembrance Project. How can people become a part of your movement?
They can go on our website, www.theremembranceproject.org, and sign up to receive our emails so we don't spam you. But we also are looking to collaborate or create coalitions with other groups who are like-minded, and we are specific to the Remembrance Project's mission is to raise awareness and honor and remember Americans who've been killed by illegal aliens, educate about placing Americans first and our safety and our sovereignty the priority. And just getting back to the basics, Zeb, this is pretty simple. We've always been saying is enforces existing laws, enforce E-Verify, place Americans first. So it's pretty basic, but this issue seems to be the issue that some of these politicians cave, and we have to remind them that our families matter and that the safety of our children is priority, and this country is priority as well.
Maria, I want to extend again a wish for a very, very happy and prosperous new year, and please know that you are one of my favorite people to have on this program. Maria Espinoza, National Director of the Remembrance Project. God bless you, and again, Happy New Year.
God bless you, too, and Happy New Year to all your listeners as well, Zeb. Thank you so much for having me on again.
Thanks, Maria. Wonderful lady right there from Texas, Maria Espinoza, and I really enjoy having her on my program. We've got to get a weather forecast on here right now, and the weather's brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. I talked to Leiden the other day, and I've got to talk to him again probably this afternoon. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years, with the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, business consulting, retirement planning, all of these and much, much more. Please get a hold of them today. They've got offices in Burley and Rupert, and they are the best at what they do. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, they bring you the weather.
Welcome back to work. It is the second day of the new year, and weather is going to be nice for today and pretty much for the rest of the week, but maybe some snow showers by this weekend. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are looking at areas of freezing fog this morning. After that burns off, sunny skies, a little bit on the breezy side, winds out of the east-northeast, 7 to 11 miles an hour, gusts possible as high as 20 miles an hour. We are looking at a high of 33 tonight. Partly cloudy skies with a low right near 16. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies with a high of 36. Overnight low of 19, mostly sunny for Thursday with a high of 37, overnight low of 23. For Friday, partly sunny skies, but more clouds are going to be rolling in on Friday, high of 37. We do have a 20% chance of snow showers for Friday night with a low of 28. That could continue for Saturday with a high of 38. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And Gina does a fantastic job putting that weather together for us. Don't forget, too, our friends that sponsor our weather for this hour, Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Located at 1710 Overland in Burley and 650 Fifth Street in Rupert, the best serving you. And they thank all the folks out there for their business last year and looking forward to serving you in 2018. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. I've got time for a couple of phone calls right now. If you'd like to give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle. I would like to say that this year, 2018, we're going to change things a little bit on the program, and we're going to have some different segments added on to our daily activities. Maybe we're going to start a public service file of different events, and we're going to have a special time that we're going to be giving those public service announcements. So if you have anything, just send it to zebAtTheRanch@hotmail.com. That email address again, zebAtTheRanch@hotmail.com. Just send us those, and we'd love to put them on the air for you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Zeb. Happy New Year.
And the very same right back at you. Thank you.
Say, listen, I very much agree with the term limit concept, but what good do term limits do when they don't follow the law? You know, the California Constitution says that
a governor can only serve 2 terms, period, and they're out. How is it that Jerry Brown is now on his 4th term? I mean, well, to hell with the law.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay in. I'm a little communist card-carrying dictator. Look at what we did here in Idaho. 4 times it was on the ballot for term limits, and every time the people of the state voted for term limits. And the last time we voted in term limits, they held a special legislature session and said, well, your vote doesn't count. You don't know what you're talking about. Term limits, are out.
I've got to jump in here. I've got to jump in here because of the sake of time. I've got to do another commercial, but I want to talk to you about this a little bit. As you have been listening to me over the many, many years on this program, and you've been an avid caller, you have found a transition in me. I was avidly against and fervently against term limits years ago, and little by little, inch by inch, step by step, like an Abbott and Costello comedy routine, I have changed my mind, and quite frankly, I am now becoming a big supporter and promoter of term limits. But to go back to what you said a few minutes ago, and you hit the nail right on the head, it doesn't make any difference if we have term limits or not. What are we going to do with these politicians that basically, like the Bill de Blasios and the Rahm Emanuels, etc., they're going to break the law, or the Jerry Browns? They don't care. They just go ahead and do it their way. I don't know what the answer is.
Prosecution. And you know just as well as I do, Seb, that it's going to come to a head one day. And there's probably going to be bloodshed across our country. And I hate to see that. As you well know, I spent years in war in Vietnam, and it's the most horrible thing in the world. But I'm afraid it's going to come to that. People, you can only slap somebody in the face so many times before they fight back.
I agree with you.
And I hate to see it come to that, but I think it might. And, I remember that when you were all in favor of what the legislature did, and I was really upset with you. But I thought, well, he's got his opinions and things, and then I've seen you change your mind over the years.
I think the reason, Mike, the reason I changed my mind, let me just jump in here and say this real quick. The reason I am changing and kind of evolving into a term limits fan is because I'm sick and tired of the graft and the corruption. I'm sick and tired of the scratch my back and I'll scratch yours over the many years. The benefit of them, not the benefit of the populace. And I'd lead the charge if we could just absolutely drum out the garbage that is serving the American people on the Potomac.
That's exactly why I was absolutely, totally in favor of term limits. The Founding Fathers never expected politicians to get in there and do 20 or 30 or 40 terms, 40, 50 years in there and get themselves seated like a tick under America's skin.
Now, I got to run to the news, Mike. I hate to be rude to you, but I'm running late, and I got to get a commercial on. But you know that you're always appreciated on this program. Thank you so much.
Okay, my brother. Have a good day.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Once again, I want to say thank you to the many, many people, businesses that advertise prior to Christmas and giving you Christmas and New Year's wishes. And I want to sum up and say thank you again to Magic Valley Carpet at 613 D Street in Rupert, 436-1722. Wonderful, wonderful people. Butte Irrigation, 2 locations, 116 South, 600 west of Paul, and at Red Cap Corner on Kimberly Road. Your Zomatic dealer. They'll get you wet at Butte Irrigation. And Streamline Precision, 120 South, 100 west of Burley with Tim and the crew. They can build it all for you. I'll tell you what, give them a call, 678-9204. Right now, we're going to turn this over to Wheels. He's going to run us up to news. We'll be back with Dr. History in the next segment. Good morning to you. Oh, my. Sunshine. Blue skies, 80 degrees. No, I wish. And, of course, Dr. History in just a moment. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you and serving you well with the best of tires for your wintertime driving. Stop in and see them today. Want to remind you that on Thursdays we have a segment called Cassia County School Days, and we really want to say thank you to our 2 sponsors. A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. Oh my goodness, what a family store. I mean, really, they've got all the warm, snuggly clothes for the cold winter, and they've got all the games and the toys and the puzzles for the kids and all the baby furniture and everything. It's all there at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And then also, don't forget Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley. Number to call for your outpatient surgeries. They can save you money. 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World on Thursdays, bringing you school days in Cassia County. Well, I'm just going to say this nice and loud. He's getting old, so I want him to hear me. Listen, old man, Happy New Year.
Thank you very much, Zeb.
How are you?
I am great.
Are you all ready for another year?
I am. And, yesterday it was my birthday.
Oh, no. I missed it. I forgot. Happy birthday.
And, because I'm a famous person, they have a big parade in my honor.
And they play the Rose Bowl for you.
They play a football game for me.
Yes, many of them.
The night before, they have all this celebration. It's just, but I'm kind of used to that.
Every time they pop a party favor, they think of Dr. Ken.
They think of me.
Yes. I didn't know you were born on the 1st.
Yeah, but I didn't win any prizes. I was slow.
Now, don't leave yourself open for any scrutiny right there, okay? And Deanne, write down that Dr. History is a New Year's baby. We've got to remember that. Happy birthday.
And a slow New Year's.
What time were you born?
I don't know. I don't know. I was so scared I didn't know what was happening.
Hey, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, we're going to talk about a miracle that happened back in the early days of our country in Jamestown. And we're going to talk about a person that most people have heard about, Pocahontas.
Oh, yeah. Jamestown.
Yeah, well.
With Pocahontas.
Yep. Yeah, we're going to talk.
I thought Pocahontas was up here.
No, you're thinking of Sacagawea.
Yeah, they were sisters. They went to the same high school.
No, they weren't. I try to keep these things true.
Okay, all right.
So here we go. It was April of 1613.
Okay,
Pocahontas walked.
Now, you remember that well because you were doing chiropractic.
Yeah, that's right. That's when I started.
Yes.
Yeah. So Pocahontas walked this narrow plank leading onto the ship called the Treasurer. It was anchored in the Potomac River. She was accompanied by a chief named Jopassus and his wife. For more than 3 years, her father, King Powhatan. Now, those are the two we're going to talk a lot about. Powhatan and Pocahontas.
Okay.
So King Powhatan. Anyway, he had forbidden her to have anything to do with the English settlers, and he'd sent her away from Jamestown to the far reaches of his kingdom, so to speak. But she liked the English settlers and welcomed this chance to visit with Captain Argall aboard his ship.
Mm-hmm.
And that had sailed up the Potomac River from Jamestown. Well, after the group had dinner, Jopassus and his wife took Pocahontas to the gunner's room of the ship, told her to wait a few minutes, and left her. Now, instead of returning, they disembarked. They left the ship with a copper kettle that they'd been paid for luring her onto the ship.
Oh.
Well, time passed, and Pocahontas realized her companions were not coming back. Then the ship began to move. She was a prisoner. Okay?
Uh-oh.
Now, the captain sailed with his hostage back to Jamestown, where Pocahontas was actually welcomed by settlers who had known her earlier and appreciated what she'd done to save the colony of Virginia. Now, the governor, Sir Thomas Gay, sent word to Chief Powhatan, her dad, that he held Pocahontas.
You know, I just thought of something. When you introduced the chief, Powhatan, and Pocahontas, you could really spit all over somebody.
I could. It's a good thing you're far away from me. So, anyway, Pocahontas, she would be reunited with her father if Powhatan would return the Englishmen he'd captured. He must also promise peace and stop warring against the other tribes and furnish the settlers with corn if he wanted his daughter back.
Holy
So that was the
smokes,
ransom.
That's really bribery.
Yeah, it's a ransom to get his daughter back.
Wow.
Well, Powhatan returned 7 captured English settlers and sent the colony 1 canoe of corn, saying he'd send more after the fall harvest. But he continued fighting against other tribes and attacking some of the outlying areas of the Virginia settlement, and he actually made no further efforts to ransom his daughter.
What tribe was that?
What was that?
That wasn't the Algonquin, was it?
I don't think so. Yeah, it is. It's part of the Algonquin Nation.
Okay.
It's part of them, yes. So anyway, let's go back to the beginning, okay? When she was born. She was born at a settlement of the Powhatan tribe in 1596 or 97, somewhere right in there. Mm-hmm. But anyway, she was named Matoka, which meant little snow feather, and Pocahontas was actually her nickname.
Little snow feather.
Yeah, that's
they used to call you that.
Yeah, I kind of like that. You know, it just kind of has a nice ring to it.
Here, little snow feather.
But anyway, so Pocahontas' father had become chieftain in 1570 and had taken the tribe's name Powhatan as his own name.
I see.
So the Powhatans were part of, as you just mentioned, the Algonquin Nation. Now, they were ruthless. They were fierce. The Powhatans conquered neighboring tribes. They killed men. They were pretty ruthless in attacking other Indian tribes. Yeah. Uh-huh. Now, Chief Powhatan was an absolute dictator. He had many wives, each of whom usually bore him only one child, and nothing is known of Pocahontas' mother, but Powhatan may have given or sold her to another warrior, even to another tribe. She may have died in childbirth. We don't know what happened to her mother. But Pocahontas, born when Powhatan was actually about 50 years old, and was actually Powhatan's favorite daughter.
Really?
So it was kind of a child he had later in life, but she was a favorite. So anyway, Pocahontas was about 11 or 12 when the first 3 shiploads of white settlers arrived at Jamestown. And this was not the first European incursion into Powhatan's territory. In 1560, the Spanish had captured a young Powhatan, okay, this is the chief, and taken him to Spain.
They took him all the way to Spain?
Yeah. And there they educated him, and they baptized him, and they called him Don Louis.
So Powhatan,
the father,
was Don Louis over in Spain.
Yes.
And he was very knowledgeable and well-read.
He was, actually.
Okay.
In 1570, they returned to the Chesapeake Bay area to set up a mission. Now, once back among the Powhatan, Don Louis, or Powhatan, referred to his Native American ways and murdered the members of the expedition. The Spanish retaliated by hanging some innocent tribe members. Things were not going really well.
What made the guy come back after being basically civilized?
You know, it's one of those things that, you know, that's not his tradition. That's not his native land.
He just wanted to wreak havoc.
He wanted to come back. So in 1585, the governor of Roanoke Island burned several villages in the southern part of Powhatan's domain. In 1604, just 3 years before Jamestown was established, a group of white men attempted to kidnap several Powhatan youths to sell as slaves in the Caribbean. And when the Powhatan warriors fought back, the whites shot and killed a number of them. You know, there's a bad thing going on here with trying to capture Indians to sell as slaves, even over in Europe or the Caribbean. So you can see that Powhatan had pretty good reason to not trust the whites that were coming.
Really?
So, anyway, Pocahontas undoubtedly watched as the white-skinned people began building a fort, a storehouse, a church. The Powhatan men were clean-shaven, and actually, I thought this was interesting. They cut all but a single strip of hair across the top of their heads. So the Mohawk...
I've seen pictures of the Algonquin tribe, and it was kind of like just maybe about 7 or 8 strands of hair that stood up, or it was combed backwards.
Yeah, kind of a Mohawk type of haircut. So, but anyway, Pocahontas was interested in the tools and the gadgets.
Did the women do the same thing?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay.
But anyway, she was interested in the European things that they brought. The Powhatans hunted with bows and arrows and spears and clubbed their enemies with tomahawks. And but
sounds like a real nice society to be a part of.
You know, they learned how to survive.
Sure.
But, you know, above all, the English had guns. Okay.
Yeah.
So
the blunderbuss.
Yeah. But among the colonists was a 26-year-old Captain John Smith.
Here we go. Oh, I know you're going to get into this. Okay.
I knew you'd figure this out.
Right.
Now, Smith had actually been a veteran of the Turkish Wars over in Europe, but Smith was one of 8 men chosen by the English king to govern the colony, this Jamestown colony. Now, perhaps because of his military experience in foreign lands, Smith recognized the need to communicate with the Native Americans. So when he saw the young girl watching, he welcomed her over and began to learn a few Powhatan words and to teach her, Pocahontas, some English words.
You think I'm going to say something? You're wrong.
Not.
I'm not.
Now, Powhatan was impressed with the English guns, which really were not all that good for fighting in Virginia. They were long, they were heavy, they were inconvenient to load and fire. And if you think about it, an Indian could, be putting arrows out at about, every 10 seconds or less.
Yeah, they were hard to load and everything. And the Indians called them fire sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they were more vulnerable to the arrows and the tomahawks, and settlers were killed because, they really couldn't defend themselves that well. So anyway, in late June, 2 of the 3 ships that had come to Jamestown returned to England, leaving the colonists with hardly any supplies. Well, pretty soon you got disease, you got water that is polluted, and by the end of the summer, half of the colonists were dead.
Really?
Now, Pocahontas noticed the distress they were in and persuaded some friendly Powhatan Indians to bring the settlers some corn. So we're kind of getting into that Thanksgiving mode type thing that we talk about,
Yeah.
But anyway, Captain Smith realized the colony needed more food than Pocahontas could provide. So he set out to explore a place called the Chickahominy River. Chickahominy, and I said that perfectly.
You did.
They were going to try to find other natives that might be able to give them some food. And they were in canoes going up this river. Okay, so picture this. And they stopped, and Smith went ashore. Well, within a few minutes, he was set upon by Powhatan warriors and was captured.
Oh, wait, this doesn't sound good.
Okay. Now, he was taken before the high chieftain, Powhatan himself, the main guy.
The big guy.
Yeah.
Don Louis.
Yes. And he was tied up. He was helpless, realizing he was about to become the next victim. And what they did is they had 2 big stones were brought forth, and Smith was stretched out with his head lying on one of the stones. The warriors gathered with clubs to beat him to death. Suddenly, Pocahontas came out of the crowd, put her arms around her friend's head, and laid her head down on his. Okay. Now, Powhatan honored a tradition and spared Smith's life. Smith was actually adopted into the tribe in a ceremony 2 days later and then escorted back to Jamestown.
You're kidding.
So what could have turned out to a very, very bad situation. Already Pocahontas is doing things to save Jamestown.
How would you like to be maybe traveling with John Smith? And everybody is fond of him, but the other guy, well, we can't make allowances.
So
yeah, not so much.
Yeah. Well, anyway, because she had saved him, Pocahontas was now, according to tradition, the guardian of Smith. His life was hers to do with as she wished.
Really?
And some historians have suggested that Pocahontas might have been disappointed that Smith did not marry her. But keep in mind, Pocahontas at this time was just a very young teenager, maybe 14 or 15.
Really?
So he did not marry her. And there's some debate about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, Pocahontas often came to Jamestown to be with the other people, the children. Again, she was just a teenager, so
it would appear to me that John Smith wasn't real bright.
Well,
because if he wanted to save his bacon, maybe he better take the nuptial vows.
Well, he didn't.
Oh, okay.
Now, like I said, although she was still a child, Pocahontas was a princess who acted as a go-between for her father and the colonists.
Right.
She reported to her father when a shipload of 100 additional colonists arrived in January of 1608, which actually contradicted Smith's claim that the settlers were only in Virginia temporarily.
Oh, no.
So one more thing that Powhatan could see that you can't trust these guys.
They're moving into the neighborhood.
Yeah. So here we are, autumn of 1608. Smith was elected president of the council governing Jamestown. Okay. Now, a ship arrived with more hungry settlers late in the year. More food would have been needed, and the growing season was done. It was over. Now, Powhatan now seemed more interested in fighting than trading. You can't hardly blame the guy,
No. But it was his land.
Yeah. So anyway, the chieftain seemed determined to get rid of the colonists. Before 1608 ended, Powhatan forbade Pocahontas to have anything to do with the English, or he would kill her.
Wow.
He said, "You stay away from those people, or I'm going to kill you," basically.
Doesn't make for a happy Thanksgiving,
and this was his favorite daughter.
Yeah.
So, anyway, the situation at Jamestown grew desperate. The people were starving, and Smith set off and talked with Powhatan. Okay. Eventually, Powhatan sent food to the people and invited Smith back. But Pocahontas arrived to warn him that her father planned to kill him at supper if he returned.
It was an evil plot.
It was. Uh-oh. So he didn't go, obviously.
He didn't go.
So anyway, Smith left Virginia for England in about 1609, and Pocahontas was told that he had died. Because she liked this guy. Anyway, so he
was a rock star to her.
He was, But her father sent her away to this northern reaches of his domain to live with some of his relatives, and the colony was thus without Smith and Pocahontas, the two who had been responsible for the peace and the success of Jamestown.
Really?
Now, this became known as, quote, the starving time for the colonists.
Yeah, I got to ask you a quick question.
Okay.
Why didn't they plan better coming from England on those boats, knowing that the growing season when they landed was over and they were going to be going into the fall and winter?
I'm only going to assume that those that came late were hoping that there would be food there when they got there. But anyway, by spring of 1610, only 60 people remained of the 490 who had been in Jamestown that previous fall.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of people.
So the survivors abandoned the settlement, boarded ships, and were sailing downriver on their way to England when the new governor, Sir Thomas Dale, arrived with food and determination. Now, this is what I call the miracle of Jamestown.
Okay.
They were leaving. They were headed
on
back.
The boat.
Yeah. And there was kind of a fog, and so you really couldn't see very well. And out of the mist came this other ship from England that they happened to see. Had they not seen him, they would have continued on to England. Jamestown would have not been.
How long did it take to get to England?
Oh, gosh. That was, at least 6 weeks, I'm thinking,
or more.
Oh, my
Goodness.
So, anyway, 3 years passed, so they stayed. Okay, the two ships decided they would stay. But the danger of attack always worried them. They thought if they could kidnap Pocahontas, they might force Powhatan to make peace. So, Captain Argall bribed, and now we're back to where I started the story, bribed this Jopassus and his wife to bring Pocahontas aboard the ship. The scheme worked, and the Indian princess was brought back to Jamestown. Well, 18-year-old Pocahontas met a widowed farmer by the name of John Rolfe. Now, you've heard his name.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, Rolfe was interested in growing tobacco, and Pocahontas showed him how the natives cultivated the crop. So they'd been growing tobacco. Yeah. Anyway, Rolfe fell in love with
for the Winston Cigarette Company.
That's right.
Yeah.
But Rolfe fell in love with Pocahontas, and everything I've read, she evidently was a very attractive, smart, intelligent young woman.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Powhatan actually gave permission for the marriage. They got married, and the newlyweds lived on a plantation on the James River. And after his daughter's marriage, Powhatan made peace with the English so that it lasted the rest of his life.
Really?
So if you think about John Smith, Powhatan, and Pocahontas, they were huge players in the settlement of Jamestown.
What happened to John Smith?
I'm going to get to that.
Oh.
Anyway, in 1616, the Rolfes, Pocahontas and her husband, went over to England.
Oh.
Okay. Now, they were welcomed everywhere, the Queen everywhere, and actually this is where she found out that John Smith was not dead, but he was living. She
thought he had passed away.
Yeah. And they hadn't met for 8 years, and she thought he was dead, but they got together and had a kind of a reunion type thing. And now at this point, Pocahontas actually wanted to stay in England, even though, England is kind of a damp, cold country.
Kind of?
Yeah, it's an island.
It is.
It's an island.
Yeah.
And she kind of had this cough thing going on with her. And in 1617, Pocahontas got really, really sick, and she died. And she was only 20 or maybe 21 years old.
Yeah.
So, but the Jamestown colony might have failed without her help. Her marriage to the Englishman brought peace with the Powhatan tribe. And, she was a
Let me back up, though. Did she ever see John Smith before she died?
Yeah, they got together.
They did?
Yeah, because that's when she found out that he was
But
not
she
dead.
was still married to Rolf.
Right.
Okay.
Right, yeah. But
All right.
So, it was a good reunion, and again, I call this the miracle of Jamestown because there were so many factors that could have said, you know what, we're leaving, we're not going to stay here.
We're out of here.
Yeah. And you think of all the people that died from starvation.
But you think about that. What are your chances of living on the ship going back to England when there's no food on the ship?
That's another thing. And, how much can you store without refrigeration on a ship? Pemmican, dried beef, dried pork.
Ugly, dried fish.
Dried fish.
You can only have so much of that. Jump overboard.
Fish and chips.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's...
Called Long John Silver's.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the story of Pocahontas, who... It was a huge factor in the settlement of our great country.
How much of that story, and I'm going to put you on the spot here like I never do any other time. I know. How much of that story historically do you think was recorded fairly accurate?
Well, because of different sources that tell this story, I think it's pretty good.
You think
pretty
it's
close.
Pretty close to what it is?
I mean, I remember as a kid in school, talking about how John Smith was saved by Pocahontas. I remember seeing a picture, just some artist rendition.
Did her husband Rolf ever come back to the United States?
That I don't know that.
Did John Smith ever come back here?
And I don't know that either.
Okay.
So, I'm going to assume that Rolf probably did because he had a plantation.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Now, John Smith had been back in England for a number of years, so I'm just going to guess that he probably stayed in England.
There's so many variables in the making of this great country.
Oh, there are miracle after miracle after miracle.
Just a little bit could have changed the whole thing.
Yeah. Like, say, these two ships leaving to go back to England.
Yeah.
If they hadn't seen the other rescue ship coming in,
oh my!
Then that
and I wouldn't be sitting here.
No, we'd be in Germany.
We'd be
England.
a member of the Algonquin tribe.
That's right.
Wearing hair down the middle of our head.
Neither one of us would look very good.
Well, sometimes little things might be an improvement.
Well, with the gray strip down. Down the middle of our head.
We look like a skunk.
That would probably be right, yes.
Oh, that's a good story.
I like that.
But really, it just shows you how on the balance this country was in
many
growing or turning back into nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many miracles that preserved America to be what it is.
I'm looking forward to a great year.
Yes, it is. 2018. It's going to be great,
all right.
Even though I turned a year older.
Well, you look it. But anyhow, God bless you, and thanks for coming by.
Great, Zeb.
I've got to pay some bills here real quick.
All right.
Once again, a Happy New Year from Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul. And this wonderful lady's going to be on our program coming up this spring and summer. Don't forget, for all your gardening needs, Vicky's Country Garden on the Burley-Paul Highway. Thanks again to Streamline Precision. Tim and the whole crew always serving you. They can build anything, and they have. You get a hold of them today, 120 South, 100 West of Burley, Streamline Precision. And Magic Valley Irrigation, 44 East, 500 South of Burley. Jeff and the crew wishing you and yours a very happy New Year. Right now, we're going to send it back over to our main studio. I'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much, and welcome back into our last half hour. And with this being the first program of 2018, I was really, really cautious and careful about the guests I wanted on here this morning. And this gentleman is number one on my list of people that you can really bank on and trust what he says is going to be gospel, and I really enjoy having him on the show. Senior Policy Advisor for American First Policies, Curtis Ellis. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Great to be here on the ranch with you, Zeb. Thanks for having me on this beautiful second day of January.
Well,
you and your listeners.
Did you go out and have a good time on New Year's Eve and sit around and watch the Rose Bowl and all the other bowl games yesterday, or did you kind of play it close to the vest?
Yeah, I sat around at home, didn't go much of anywhere yesterday, and it was a very pleasant day to do that. It's freezing cold where I am, so I did not venture too far out of the house.
Curtis, let me ask you this, and I'm sure you get asked this a lot. People that are the naysayers, the Democrats, the Dick Durbins, the Chuck Schumers, etc., the Nancy Pelosi's, all of their ilk, oh my goodness, they're still on bended knee and tearing their hair out, gnashing their teeth over Donald Trump and his administration. I got to tell you what, I talked earlier to Dr. Gerard Lamero earlier this morning. I am ecstatic as to what's happening with this administration with Donald Trump. Give us your thoughts.
I think I'm with you. Despite this implacable opposition and all the naysayers and all the negative publicity going out there, he has accomplished an incredible amount. We're seeing today, there's reports by the New York Times, one of the most liberal papers, that the business confidence is at an all-time high. Businesses are investing in plants and in hiring and everything that Donald Trump said would happen. We've seen a huge rollback in regulations, and now with this tax cut in the cards coming down the pike, we're seeing an incredible growth in the economy. The Federal Reserve is predicting 4% growth is a real possibility here. On the judicial front, he's appointing good judges from the Supreme Court down to the circuit level. We're starting to see the outlines of everything he promised. We're starting to see it come into clearer focus and come into reality, that it is possible to get this economy moving again. The record is already in for the first 2 quarters of the year. It's above 3%, something that was never achieved under President Obama for 8 years. And on the international front, we're seeing what this America First policy looks like and what the result is. The countries around the world are respecting us and expecting us to lead, and to lead not to some amorphous, rules-based international order, but to lead in our interest. And in our interest, American interest, is based on American values. And American values are freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom and liberty. And that's what we're standing for. We're recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. What that means is we're not letting the threat of mob violence or this make-believe idea that somehow Israel is going to give up Jerusalem as its capital. I mean, that's never going to happen. The whole point of the state of Israel is that the biblical people of Israel are going back to the land that was written about thousands of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what kind of Bible other people read, but the one I read has Jerusalem all over it.
That's right.
So I just don't think that the people of Israel are going to give up Jerusalem as their capital, where King David and all the others reigned. So why should we make believe that's going to happen? So what Donald Trump is talking about is a foreign policy based on reality. Based on reality, that countries exist, countries have national interests, America has a national interest, and in this particular case, Israel has its national interest. So why should we make believe that's not going to be there? And now we see the United Nations has reduced spending because the United States has cut $285 million out of the money we give the UN. So instead of just kowtowing to the UN, we're starting to assert ourselves, and we're getting results. And whether you talk about the economy at home or foreign policy, we're getting results. Donald Trump is getting results. And it's amazing. They don't report most of this, and now we see what's happening in Iran. The people of Iran have said enough already. Iran, the economic sanctions have been lifted against Iran, and what are they doing with that? What is the Iranian people are saying? What's our government doing with that money? They're supporting terrorism around the Middle East instead of helping our own country. So basically, the protests happening in Iran today they're saying Iran first. The same way the people of America said, let's put America first, they're saying, let's put Iran first. Don't put Hezbollah first.
That's right.
So it's a very interesting development. We have Microsoft chief executive, who's obviously they're a global corporation. They're saying the America First policy has now become a template and the standard by which countries all over the world are going to be acting.
Absolutely.
You won't be able to get elected in Britain unless you say Britain first. You won't be able to be elected in France unless you say France first. So Donald Trump has changed the whole way of thinking on a global scale, and that is amazing.
Curtis, one issue that you didn't talk about just a moment ago, but I'm going to bring it up and I want you to elaborate on it. A problem that this administration, Donald Trump, has inherited because of a nothing done attitude by the Obama administration, and that's North Korea. I am worried. I am afraid. As a father and a grandfather, I am very concerned about that fat man over there with the bad haircut. What are your thoughts about North Korea and this administration? Following your remarks, we'll take a caller. Go ahead.
Sure. Well, what we are seeing, it's interesting. Today, there's a report out on the Washington Free Beacon news site. A document has emerged from China, from the Chinese Communist Party secret document saying, the Chinese saying, we're going to make believe that we're going along with the sanctions, but while we tell the world we're going along with the sanctions on North Korea, we'll tell the North Korean government that we're backing them, we're there for them, they just have to stop testing their nuclear weapons. If they stop doing the nuclear tests, we'll give them missile technology and we'll help them in economically, we'll help them in other ways with with resources and oil and support and aid. So what we're seeing here is that the Chinese have been playing us. They've been playing the Trump administration. They've been playing America, saying we're cracking down on North Korea. And Donald Trump kept saying, we're not going to do any. I'm not going to get tough with you on the fact that you're trying to drive our steel industry out of business and you're driving our aluminum industry out of business. And up there in eastern Washington, there is an aluminum smelter that's about ready to close down if it hasn't already closed because China is dumping aluminum below the cost of production, dumping it in our market and driving our industries into extinction. And really, so Trump has said, we're not going to get tough with you on that because we need your help on Korea. Well, now we see that whole thing is a sham. I personally believe that the Koreans, North Korea, wants to use his nuclear arsenal the same way the United States uses it, same way Russia used it, the same way we used it during the Cold War, same way China. The interesting thing about nuclear weapons is it's the weapon you have so that you don't use it. Mm-hmm. Right? It's called deterrence. The idea that it's such a monstrous damage inflicted by this weapon that no one will use it as a first strike, but you use it as a guarantee that no one will strike against you. Because if they hit you, you'll hit back with a nuclear weapon. And so I think that Kim Jong-un wants this nuclear weapon so he doesn't end up like Muammar Gaddafi, which is Gaddafi gave up his nuclear program. He gave up his biological and chemical program. And what happened? Hillary Clinton decided to back the jihadis, and Muammar Gaddafi ended up dead. So I don't think that Kim Jong-un would ever strike the United States first, but and that's why he wants a nuclear weapon, to make sure that we don't strike him first.
Right.
He doesn't want to end up like Saddam Hussein and Muammar Gaddafi. And China wants to use North Korea and Kim Jong-un as a showpiece to say this game they're playing, which is don't get tough with us on trade because you need us and we'll help you handle this crazy guy. Meanwhile, they're whispering to Kim Jong-un, hey, act crazy because that helps us. If you act crazy, we can tell the Americans will calm you down.
Absolutely.
So that's my analysis. And plus, North Korea, the border of North Korea is like 40 miles from downtown Seoul. I don't think it's even that far.
Right.
And even their conventional artillery pieces could inflict massive damage on the South Korean capital. So it's a very difficult situation to imagine a nuclear or even a conventional strike against North Korea that would not destroy South Korea as well.
Curtis, we have a caller with a question for you. Caller, go ahead, please. You're on the air.
Well, when China was selling oil to North Korea, I know China's economy is faltering. And that's the reason why they have destroyed the steel market, dumping steel on the market, and now aluminum. And the other things that they're doing, and I can't imagine that they're making enough. I mean, I guess they just feel like they have to do whatever they can for their economy, including sell oil to North Korea. And then as far as Iran is concerned, if you've studied Iran, when the Shah of Iran was there was a lot of people that may have not liked him, and especially in the United Nations, supposedly, I guess. But the people were very open, friendly, and it was in a very open society. And now it's a disaster. Economically, there's people suffering, and Trump has inspired these people to protest, like you say. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, if you would, Curtis, please.
Yeah, China's economy is really built on sand. You want to talk about a bubble economy? They've got this huge unregulated private banking system, which is really what we call, in basic American street talk, loan sharks. I mean, everybody on the street in China is lending, who's got $20 is lending 10 of it to their neighbor. And this is multiplied probably 1 billion times over, because there's 1.5 billion people in China. So there's this wild credit system. They have to have continuous growth in China, or else the people will rise up and overthrow the Communist Party. The Communist Party has been buying people off to create domestic tranquility with this printing money, and what they're doing with steel and aluminum, and is selling it below cost of production in order to grab market share. It's kind of a Ponzi scheme, and he's right. They're selling oil to North Korea because they need every source of money they can get to keep this Ponzi scheme going, and they're hoping they can keep it going long enough to drive American industry into extinction. Then they'll have control of global markets in all of these basic commodities like steel, aluminum, auto parts, silicon chips, electronics, etc. Then they'll be able to jack the price up and finally make some real money. But in the meantime, they're kind of doing the loss leader Ponzi scheme game here. As for Iran, yes, the Iranian people, it's a very ancient culture. Persia, you read about it all over the place. Again, going back to the Bible, the Persian Empire and Cyrus, it's a very sophisticated culture. The people are open, they're educated, they have a large middle class, and they want an honest government. They want an honest. What you usually see in these autocratic systems, like you see in Iran with the mullahs, they say absolute power corrupts absolutely. And when these people have their position guaranteed, they use it to enrich themselves. So it's a crony system. It's whether it's crony capitalism or crony authoritarianism. The fix is in. They steer the contracts to their friends. They're getting rich. Meanwhile, everybody else is suffering. They've got inflation. They've got the economy is stagnant. There's a huge drug addiction problem. And the people are sick and tired of it, and they're fed up, and they want to see some openness and some change. And it's very interesting that you're seeing now the Obama advisors, the people that cozied up to Iran, thinking they were going to play some. I don't know if they were thinking they were going to play some great game and play the Iranians off of the Saudis, and the Iranians would be a better ally than the Saudis have been, or if they had some other motive for doing it. But the people who made the Iran nuclear deal in the Obama administration are now telling Donald Trump to shut up and not say anything about the protesters over there. And excuse me, you didn't say anything when the people rose up in 2009, and then when you had the situation in Benghazi, you basically put out a lie, and you kind of excused you put out a lie saying these people had attacked our embassy because of some phony video, which was not true.
Absolutely.
And it's just ridiculous what they're saying about this. But yes, the Iranian people. I mean, look, you've got the Kardashians, right? The Kardashians are the Iranians in exile.
There you go.
Got a huge Iranian American community in Southern California, and of which the Kardashians are just maybe the worst example. But it's they're very friendly people, they're very sophisticated people, and they want the same things the American people want.
Curtis, real quick, I've only got 2 minutes left in this segment. If you were to look into a crystal ball for this next year going through 18 and the elections, do you think that Trump's going to be able to notch his pistol with maybe a repeal of Obamacare? Is it going to be something with immigration and the border? What do you think his strong points for this next year will be?
I think his strong point this year is going to be the economy. I think it's going to start delivering. It's already starting. We're going to see growth. We're going to see jobs. We're going to see wages going up. We're going to see his trade policy coming into clearer focus, where people start making things in America again when we start cracking down on the trade cheaters overseas. And that's going to help the economy as well. And I do think there's going to be a deal on immigration where we increase border security, ends this chain migration, this ridiculous lottery system where we just let anybody in if you just say, Joe sent me. So I'm actually optimistic that with these midterm elections, Trump is going to hold on to the House, because if the Democrats get a hold of the Congress, they're going to move to impeach him, and that's just and that's just the beginning of it, because they're all socialist crazies, those Democrats.
Absolutely. Curtis Ellis, Senior Policy Advisor for America First Policies, I absolutely thank you for being on the program. Please know I'll call you again in the future, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Zeb. It's great to be with you anytime. I love it.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. A gentleman that I really admire with his vast knowledge of this administration, because of the fact that he served on President Trump's transition team. He knows the ins and outs of what's going on back in D.C. with not only this administration, but past administrations. Curtis Ellis. Holy moly, I'm late. I got to get a weather on here real quick, and the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, and Don Scarrow and the crew. Oh my goodness, delicious meats. I'll bet you a lot of you folks took me up on calling them, getting over there for the marinated prime rib, maybe for your Christmas dinner, or maybe a smoked ham or smoked turkey for New Year's. Oh my goodness, everything is delicious from Scarrows Meats. Go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com, or give them a call at 324-7657. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road in Jerome. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Welcome back to work. It is the second day of the new year, and weather is going to be nice for today and pretty much for the rest of the week, but maybe some snow showers by this weekend. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are looking at areas of freezing fog this morning. After that burns off, sunny skies, a little bit on the breezy side, winds out of the east-northeast, 7 to 11 miles an hour, gusts possible as high as 20 miles an hour. We are looking at a high of 33 tonight. Partly cloudy skies with a low right near 16. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies with a high of 36. Overnight low of 19, mostly sunny for Thursday with a high of 37, overnight low of 23. For Friday, partly sunny skies, but more clouds are going to be rolling in on Friday, high of 37. We do have a 20% chance of snow showers for Friday night with a low of 28. That could continue for Saturday with a high of 38. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Brought to you by Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657, and it's true. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Scarrows Meats. Wow, great program. Back in the saddle again for 2018, Zeb at the Ranch, and I appreciate all your calls. We'll look forward to another great program tomorrow. We got a lot of neat people coming on, various subjects, and you don't want to miss a minute of it. And by the way, we also want to say thank you to our major sponsor, and that's, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, they are the best. They've got all the traction tires for your wintertime driving, and yes, you know as well as I do, we're going to get hit again. Well, you stop in and check it out for your car, pickup, SUV, whatever. They've got the best in traction tires for you, along with all the tire chains. The best in brake service work, and of course, front end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. Whoa, when it gets cold, that's hard on your battery. Make sure you've got a good one from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I want to say this before I go. This is your program. Really, to get involved in, call in about the various topics that we try to go through every day, and I really appreciate you folks. We're here for the next year of 2018, serving you and trying to do the best we can in providing you all the information and service, and maybe talk about some of your public service events, etc. Just make sure you make me aware and send those to me at zebattheranch@hotmail.com, and we'd love to help you. Thank you for making our program what it's been for the many, many years, and we'll look forward to serving you again this year, 2018. And remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06.